Morgan, for those of you that don't know. This is our gentle class today. My idea behind this class, though, well, it's always about, practicing physically. I do like to bring a little bit of philosophy or spiritual quality into my classes. And today is obviously Halloween. And when I think of Halloween, I think about what we fear, right? Today is that day where we either face our fears, we become our fears, or we look at them all around us, right? Or people begin to dress up and they become these scary things. Well, when I think of what most people fear, and I could be wrong, but it's this idea of the unknown. This unknown quality of life, of the universe, that drives the human species to imagine, to be creative, to explore, to be curious, and to invent. And for me, fear and being brave are the same, they're within the same realm. Because in order to be brave, you have to have some sort of fear of something and be brave enough to pursue it anyway. So today, we're going to be working with that in our practice. We're going to be playing with a little bit of balance, which is not something we typically do in a gentle class, and it doesn't have to be on one foot at all. But we are going to play with it because this idea of stepping into that unknown, of stepping out of our comfort zone and beginning to build that bravery or braveness within ourselves, right? Our courage. And so that's what I have planned for today, and I'll speak on that as we begin to move, but we're going to just find a comfortable seat and start there. So if you're already there, great. If you're not there, let's go ahead and find that space. And then if it's in your practice, I do invite you to begin to close or soften the eyes. And to begin our class today, we'll start by taking a deep breath in and a long breath out. Letting go of the week we've had, letting go of the morning we've had, setting it aside for today, giving ourselves permission to be fully here right now. And as we start to ground into our mat, we might begin to listen to the sounds we hear within our room. We might hear cars, we might hear pets, family, we might hear other students. But just beginning to practice that mindfulness of what are we hearing right now. We might also begin to notice the temperature of our space. We might notice the coolness of our mat, the textures against our skin, the weight of our clothing against our body. And as our awareness moves closer and closer to our physical body, we might also begin to check in with that today. What do we feel? Are there parts of me that are tired, that are tight, that can use a little bit of my compassion and love and kindness as I move today? Also, are there parts of me that feel strong, that feel ready and energized and open to moving and breathing today? So as we make our way through our body, from our toes to the crown of our head, just making mental notes of what it's like today, right now. Letting go of this expectation that it needs to be something better, different. And seeing if we can allow ourselves to just be what we are today. On a day where a lot of us dress up into something else, can we acknowledge and be okay with the space we are starting from, with the person that we are, with the life that we live, with the body that we have? And as you make your way up towards the crown of the head, we might pause there for a moment, bringing our awareness to that third eye center, that space and point between the eyebrows, the seat of higher level thinking. And as we focus our awareness here, we might notice our thoughts today. Maybe they're chaotic. Maybe they're anxious. Maybe they're calm and quiet. But as we begin to notice each thought, we take a moment to remind ourselves today that we are not our thoughts. We are not the stories that they tell us. We are not the expectations and the judgments that they have. But we are that awareness of them, that chooser, the witness, the seer. And as we begin to watch our thoughts float by, not holding on to anyone in particular, we begin to tune in with the rhythm of our breath, flowing in and out. Maybe deepening our inhales and lengthening our exhales. Taking our time to sit and be with our breath. That life force, that prana flowing in and out. And as we sit with our breath here before we begin our movement practice, taking a moment maybe to set our intention for the class. As we head into a week of unknown, as we head towards maybe a new beginning, taking a moment maybe to remind ourselves that we are strong enough, brave enough, creative enough to enter into that unknown. And that while we might fear, we might have anxiety, we might be saddened by what is going on in the world, we take a moment to remind ourselves that we have been through a lot in our lives and that we have made it through. So as we move today, as we try new things, we let go of expectation, of judgment, and we allow ourselves to have fun and be playful. Taking one more breath here. And then on your next inhale, our hands are going to begin to reach up and over the head. Huge breath in here, reaching through the fingertips, and as you exhale, palms come to touch and meet at heart center. One more deep breath in as we reach the hands up and over the head, gathering our energy in, stretching the body here, and exhale, palms come down to heart center. Sealing our intention for our class today. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, lift the hands up and over the head. And then exhale, right hand comes down next to the right hip. Left hand, palm is reaching down, it's going to reach up and over the body. Making sure that we're not collapsing into that right shoulder, that our right elbow is bent, the right shoulder is dropped away from the ear, and we have a nice open front of the neck and left side of our body. Breathing one more deep breath into the left side. And we'll inhale, lift the hands back up, reach and lengthen through the spine, and as you exhale, left hand comes down, right hand begins to reach up and over. One more breath. And we'll inhale, lift the hands back up. Look up towards our hands, and as we exhale, left hand comes to the outside of the right thigh, right hand comes behind us. Inhale, we lengthen and lift our spine, and as you exhale, we begin to look over that right shoulder. Asking ourselves, can this twist come less from our shoulders and neck and more from our mid-thoracic spine? Can we breathe so deeply down into our belly that we imagine our breath creating that space between each vertebrae? One more inhale in here. And out. And we'll inhale, lift the hands back up, move back to center. And as you exhale, right hand comes to the outside of the left leg, left hand comes out behind us. Inhale, we lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, we begin to look over that left shoulder. Breathing into our bellies here. One more breath. And on your next inhale, we'll move back to center, lift through the hands. And exhale, the hands come down to the heart center. We'll switch the cross of the legs here, bringing whatever leg was on bottom on top. And from here, we'll begin to extend the arms out to either side. Now, if you're sitting on something, it might be a little bit deeper of a stretch here. But if you're not, that's okay, and we don't have to. So when you're ready, we're going to just notice our sits bones for a moment. So are we leaning back? Are we rocked forward on them? Are we sitting on one more than the other? And can we begin to balance it out here? And then once you've found that balance, we're going to begin to engage the core. So we're pulling the belly button back towards the spine. We're knitting the ribs in, so we're nice and strong in our core. But that doesn't mean that we're puffing the chest forward. We want to keep the ribs hugged back. Shoulders are broad, scapulas are moving in towards the spine and down. And then our fingertips are going to come down to the ground and begin to walk away from the body until you feel that nice long pull from the tips of our fingers to the crown of our head. We'll take one more breath here. And on our next inhale, we'll begin to look up towards the sky. And exhale, drops the chin down. A few more, inhale, look up. Exhale, drops the chin down. Last one, inhale up. Exhale down. From here, our chin is tucked, but our spine is nice and tall. We'll take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, we'll begin to swing the right ear over towards our right shoulder. Breathing into the left side of our neck and the top of our left shoulder. We might invite a little movement here. As our right ear reaches for the right shoulder, we might just begin to rock the head forward and back. moving gently and kindly here. It's very easy to move the neck in a wrong way. So we just want to be very mindful. We're not jerking, we're not forcing. We'll do one more little movement here. And on your next exhale, we'll roll the chin back to center. Inhale, begins to move the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Pausing here, maybe walking the right fingertips a little bit further away. And we might begin to invite movement on this side, so maybe just a little bit of a tuck and lift. Again, moving gently here today. We'll do a few more rounds of movement. And then we'll pause with our left ear towards our left shoulder. This time we're going to make sure our spine is nice and lifted, and then we're going to begin to bring the head back. So we're not collapsing the back of our skull to our spine, we're just extending the back of our head behind us. So there's an upward lift of the crown and a backward pull. So again, we're not dropping the head back, we're keeping the back of our neck engaged as we lift it up and back. Chin is pointing towards the sky. We'll take a deep breath in here. And exhale brings us back to neutral. From here, we're going to head onto our hands and knees. We're going to begin to move a little bit more. So if we have sensitive knees or knees that just need a little bit of extra support today, we're going to bring something underneath them. If you're healthy and totally fine having them on the ground, that is perfectly okay for today. So we won't be here for long, but we do want to make sure that we're taking time to set ourselves up really nice. So wrists are stacked underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips, toes are tucked, or we're pressing down through the tops of the feet. But either way, our feet are active participants here. Our core is nice and strong as well. We'll pause here for a round of breath. And on our next inhale, we're going to begin to tilt the tail up towards the sky, drop the belly down, open the heart, lift the gaze for our cow. Exhale begins to tuck the chin, round through the back body, hug the pelvis under for our cat. Inhale, drops the belly, opens the heart, look up. Exhale begins to round through the back body. Taking your time here, moving with your own breath, maybe adding in some organic movements of the hips, shoulders, neck. We'll do a few more rounds. Last round, wherever you're at. And then we'll come back to our neutral table. From here, walk the hands forward about 1 or 2 palm lengths. So we have a nice extension in the arms and shoulders. From here, we're going to gently begin to just shift our weight back towards our hips, dropping the heart and the forehead down to our mat. Or if our shoulders are still a little stiff this morning, we might bring a block or a bolster underneath the forehead and bring the ground up to us. So a couple different options for your shoulders today, and it doesn't make you any more or less of a yogi. In fact, letting go of expectation and ego is a big part of our yoga practice. So seeing, can we just be okay with who and where we are today? One more breath here. And we'll inhale, press through the palms, lift back up, walk the hands back under the shoulders. This time we'll all tuck the toes. We'll take a deep breath in, and as we exhale, we'll lift the knees here, engaging the core, letting it turn on for a couple rounds of breath. And then when you feel ready, we'll begin to walk the hands back towards the feet, coming into our standing forward fold. First one of the day, so maybe the knees are generously bent. Taking our time, maybe straightening the legs, maybe bending each knee, maybe moving the ankles, letting our body warm up this morning. And then from here, we'll inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, the hands reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. We're going to move everything off the mat. So if we had props, we're going to go ahead and send them away. However, if you have a blanket and you want to use that, we are going to head into a low lunge at some point. So you might just put it where our low lunge would be, or just have it on the side of your mat so it's accessible. And we'll all begin to move to the top of our mat. If blocks are a part of your practice, we're going to go ahead and bring them in here. We're just going to set them off to the right side of our mat for when we want them. So coming into our mountain, feet are hip distance apart. If you want to check that, take your two fists and bring them between the feet. If they fit, great. If not, bring it in, take it out just a little bit. Spread the toes, lift them off the mat, spread them nice and wide. Place them down one by one. And then from here, bend the knees a couple times. Make sure we're not locking the legs out. For those of us that are hypermobile, we tend to do this without even noticing. So bringing them back to straight. That doesn't mean they're locked. It means that they're nice and engaged. Quads are strong. Back body is grounding down. Core is turned on here. Shoulders and collarbones are broad. Crown is lifted. Mountain pose. On your next inhale, hands begin to lift up towards the sky. Exhale, we melt it all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, inhale, the hands reach all the way back up. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. Inhale, swings the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, melts it all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, inhale, the hands reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. We got a few more. Inhale, reaches the hands up. Exhale, melts it all the way down. Take your time. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, inhale, the hands reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. Two more. Inhale, reaches the hands up. Exhale, melts it all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, keep the length as we fold. Bend the knees. When you're ready, inhale, reaches the hands all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. On your next inhale, lift the hands back up. Exhale, melts it all the way down. This is our last one. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Keep the length as you exhale. exhale, forward fold. Pausing here, taking a moment to notice what has changed in your forward fold. Is the body starting to warm up? Is it starting to let go of some of the tension and allow for a little bit more length? One more breath here. On your next inhale, bend the knees, hands begin to lift up and overhead. Full salute here. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. Pausing here with your thumbs against your heart space. Noticing the rhythm of your heart. The sound of your breath. The heat in your body. And then when you're ready, we'll step back 1 or 2 steps. So this is a part of that balancing practice that we're going to play with. And again, we're kind of stepping into the unknown here. I don't think I've ever brought this into any of my classes before. Maybe one of my vinyasa classes, but not a gentle one. So we're going to play around today, and if it doesn't happen, don't worry about it. So inhale, we lift the hands up. Interlace the fingers, release the index finger. Palms are squeezing together like we are holding something precious between our hands. I'm going to step back off my mat so y'all can fully see me. Make sure that there's space behind you, and then we're going to step this left foot forward. So from here, we're going to come onto our left heel. So the toes are pointed up towards the sky. And then we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, we're going to shift our weight into our left toes, lift the right heel. So now we're on the tips of our right toes. Now here might be where we stop. If we're going to play around today, we might just lift the toe and then bring it back down. Lift the right toe and bring it back down. If you're like, I've done this before and I want to go further, you might begin to hinge forward a little bit and then come back up. Hinge forward a lot of it, and maybe you hold. But again, this is a gentle class, so if all we do today is just play with lifting that back toe, that is completely okay. We're building that strength. We're stepping into that unknown. We're out of our comfort zone here. We'll take one more practice of this. And then we'll come back down onto that right foot. Left toes lift back up. Step the left foot back, right foot forward. If the arms need a break, take a moment, release them down, shake them out. And then we'll come back, arms up and overhead, interlaced fingers, pointer is released. So right heel is out in front, right toes are lifted. Take a deep breath in and tell yourself something kind. You got this. As we begin to shift our weight into that right foot, left heel lifts. So now we're on the left big toe. Maybe that begins to lift. And then maybe it comes back down. Maybe you're experienced yogi and you want to begin to just lift all the way, and that's okay. Move at your own pace. Nobody gets to tell you what to do in your practice, including me. So we'll take one more practice through this, and maybe it's just lifting the toe. And then we'll exhale the left foot back down fully, lift the right toes back up, release the hands down, shake it out. Awesome, that was great. So we're gonna head to face the long side of our mat, the right long side. So now we have those blocks available to us. And sorry, we're going to be on the left side, but we're facing the right side of our mat. Yeah, I know, a lot of rights and lefts today. From here, we're going to bring one of our blocks and we're going to bring it right in front of our left foot. Y'all, we'll figure it out together. It'll happen. I think we're all different directions. We'll work it out. So, feet are together. Inhale, we reach the hands up, interlace the fingers, release the index finger. Take a deep breath in.
Exhale, we begin to lean it over either way. It doesn't matter, we're all different directions anyway. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, begin to reach up and over to that other side. Inhale, back to center. Release the hands as you exhale. Take a big step out to the other half of your mat. Arms are going to stay open. We're in our 5-pointed star here. And then when you're ready, we're going to begin to turn the left toes towards the short end of our mat. Perfect. Yeah. Then we're going to tee the arms open. And from here, we're going to shift the hips back towards our right foot as we draw the body forward. Tilt the right hand up. Left hand comes down to that block, to our shin if we don't have a block. Or maybe we're able to use a little bit of our core and keep ourselves lifted. Now, wherever you decide to be, we are actively pressing through our back foot. Inner arch is lifted. We're using that pinky toe edge. Front foot is active as well, but the weight is spreading evenly between both legs. Right side of our pec is turning open towards the sky. We'll take a couple more rounds of breath here. Our gaze can be down at the left hand. It can be facing the long end of our mat, or it can be looking up towards the sky. One more breath. And on your next exhale, we're going to begin to bend into that left knee. And then we're going to pivot on the back toes, bringing the right hand down to the mat or down to a block. So now our hands are framing that front left foot. Maybe we have blocks underneath both of them. So we're in a supported crescent lunge here. Back heel is lifted. Back pinky toe is on the mat. Our toes are facing the same direction. So they're both facing towards the short end of our mat. And we'll pause here for a couple rounds of breath. Sinking the hips down, we begin to lift the heart and lift the gaze. Building strength in our knees. Opening through the front of the right quad. Lengthening through the abdominals, all the way up to the crown of the head here. One more breath. As you exhale, here's where that back knee is going to lower down to our prop or down to the mat. We're in our low lunge here. Make sure this left knee is staying stacked over left ankle. From here, we can leave our hands on the blocks, but we're going to begin to tilt the pelvis down. Lift the heart, lift the gaze. Couple more rounds of breath. Maybe you play with the tilt of your pelvis. So for a lot of us, our tailbone is going to be kind of turned back behind us. If you begin to tuck it under, you heighten that sensation and stretch within that right quad. So maybe taking a moment to try that out. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, begin to straighten through that front left leg. Left toes go up towards the sky. Hips are stacked over the right knee. Inhale, we lengthen the spine. Exhale, we bow the head down towards that left shin. Taking a moment here, breathing into the back of that leg.
Slide that left foot back down. We'll bring the left hand on the inside of the left foot. We'll heel toe the left foot out to the left side of our mat, and then slide it back behind us, coming into our table. Blocks can move off the mat here. Wrists come back under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, and we're back in our table. On your next inhale, we drop the belly, open the heart, look up towards the sky. Exhale begins to round through the back body. We're going to do a few more of these. Inhale, when you're ready, drop the belly, open the heart, look up. Exhale, rounds through the back. 2 more with your own breath here. And we'll inhale back to neutral. Walk the hands forward a couple of palm lengths. Knees and hips walk back together. Heart begins to press towards the earth. Forehead comes down to the mat. Puppy pose. If our forehead is not ready to come to the mat, we can bring a block or a bolster underneath it and lift the ground up to us. So when I talk about stepping out of our comfort zone and being a little bit more open to the unknown in life, that doesn't mean that we push our body beyond the point of pain, okay? But it does mean that we begin to explore things that maybe we've avoided. For whatever reason, maybe there's a posture that we just feel that our body cannot do. Maybe there's a class we've never taken, but we've wanted to. Maybe there's something we've never done, but we've wanted to do it. And in those moments are the moments where we can choose to live in our fear, live in our anxiety of it, or we can take that first step in that direction and see what happens. One more breath here. And then when you're ready, inhale, presses into the palms, begins to shift our weight back up. Walk the hands back under the shoulders. Tuck the toes. Inhale, lift the knees, engage the core. Hover here for a moment. And then when you're ready, walk the hands back towards the knees. Standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Pause here as we exhale. One more inhale in here, lengthen the crown. Exhale, keep the length as you fold it down. Pausing here for a round of breath. And then when you're ready, bend the knees. Inhale, the hands reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, the hands come down to the heart. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Beautiful. And when we're ready, we'll find that space on our mat where we're going to have that left foot forward. So make sure there's space behind you, make sure there's space in front of you. And then we're going to lift our hands back up, interlace the fingers, release that index finger. Biceps are squeezing towards our ears. Front toes are lifted. So left heel's on the mat, left toes are lifted. And here we are, we're gonna take that step forward. As we inhale, we come off of that back heel. Maybe we're on that back right toe. Maybe the toe begins to lift for a moment. Maybe it comes back down. I want you to work with your comfort zone and then take a step beyond it. So that's different for everyone today. Maybe your comfort zone is having 2 feet fully on the mat. So maybe even just coming onto those back tippy toes is enough for today. Maybe you're able to lift.
Maybe you're able to hinge forward. Who knows? Only you do. We'll take a couple more moments of practicing here. And then we'll inhale, right toes come back down, right heel comes down to the mat. We let the arms go down to the side, and we shake it out. Maybe interlacing behind the low back and drawing the shoulders down and away. And then when you're ready, we'll switch the feet. Right leg comes forward, left leg goes back. Now, I know that a lot of us, balance is one of those things where it's just a little difficult in all of our lives, and it has a lot to do with our physical strength, but even more so our mental strength. So as we play with our balance today, what are our thoughts saying to us? Are they supportive? Are we finding that groundedness? So as we head into this other side, let's think about those things. Inhale, the hands reach up. Interlace the fingers, release the pointer finger. When you're ready, those right toes lift, heels on the mat, and then we begin to walk forward. Left heel lifts, toes are on the mat. Now here's where we check in with our mind. Is it already trying to stop us from moving beyond this point? I am capable. I am supported. My body supports me in everything that I do. How can we begin to shift the language that we speak to ourselves in? And it might sound silly, we're just practicing yoga, but in the end, these moments where we're practicing a physical posture is what's going to help us when we move into life and we're practicing our physical postures in life, meaning those moments where we are scared to step into that unknown. What are our thoughts telling us? If we practice here of saying supportive things, when we move out into the world, they're going to be saying supportive things. So we'll take one more moment here. And then we'll come out. Left heel comes back to the mat, arms come down, and we shake it out. Roll the legs, roll the ankles, curl the toes. And then we'll move these blocks to that opposite end of the mat. So whatever side you worked on. And then we'll step over to the side where our blocks are. When you're ready, we'll inhale, lift the hands up, interlace the fingers, release that index finger. On your next inhale, we're going to lengthen the spine up, tuck the tail, core is engaged. Exhale, lean it over to the side, doesn't matter which side. Inhale, back up. Exhale, other side. Inhale comes up, release the hands. Exhale takes a big step out. Beautiful. Arms are going to tee open, and we're going to rotate the right toes to the short end of our mat. Left toes are parallel with the other short end. Arms are outstretched. We're going to shift our hips towards that left leg, shift the torso forward, tilt the left hand up into our triangle. So again, we can have blocks here. We can have 2 blocks here. Okay? It doesn't have to look like those Instagram yogis, right? We can have whatever we need to begin to build this strength. Breathing here. Have we lost the depth in our breath? One more. And when you're ready, We're going to begin to bend into that right knee. Pausing here. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, left hand comes down. We pivot onto the back toes. Right hand comes down to the outside of the right leg. So again, we can have blocks underneath both hands if we would like. Back heel, so back left heel is lifted. Left hip is facing towards the top of our mat or towards the short end. Right knee is stacked over right ankle. And maybe we begin to sink the hips down and lift the chest. Now, as we sink the hips down, sometimes we have a tendency to bend that back left knee. See if you can keep the back of the left knee lifted. Couple more breaths here. Last one. Exhale, left knee comes down. Now we can bring something under the left knee if we need a little bit of support here if we're on a hard ground. Otherwise, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shift the hips down and forward and begin to lift the heart and gaze up. Few rounds of breath here. Last round of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, begin to shift our weight back, moving mindfully as we straighten that front right leg. Right toes go up towards the sky. So our hands are walking back in line with the top of our shin or by our knee. And then from here, we're going to inhale, lengthen the spine. Keep the length as you exhale, fold. Last round of breath. Inhale, begins to shift our weight back into that front right foot. We'll bring both hands on the inside of the right leg. We'll heel toe the right all the way off, right foot all the way off of our mat, and then slide it out behind us. This time, hands are going to come under the shoulders. Big toes are going to separate about 2 or 3 inches away from each other. Knees are going to widen to our mat. And then we're going to sink the hips back, arms outstretched forward into our tadpole. Forehead comes down to the mat. Couple more rounds of breath here. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, look towards our hands, begin to walk ourselves up. We'll
all swivel the feet out from underneath us, coming onto our bottoms. Right leg hugs the left inner thigh, left leg extends out long in front of us. Now, for those of us that are hypermobile or have tighter hamstrings, we're gonna take a bolster or pillow or blanket and bring it under that left knee. For those of us that have a tighter hip, we're gonna bring it under that right hip. Pelvis is gonna be brought under the sits bones. So, flexing the left foot back towards the body, we're gonna frame the left leg with both of our hands. Heart is gonna turn to where it's stacked over that left thigh. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we begin to lean forward here. When you meet that stopping point in the body, then you can begin to round the forehead down. Breathing into the back body here. Even though we're starting to cool down, we're still actively breathing. Where does our body need our breath? Beautiful breath. Last round of breath. And on your next inhale, we'll slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time, taking our time. Head is the last thing to stack. And when we get there, as we exhale, we let the shoulders drop. We let the foot soften. And we take a moment to just feel the body. From here, we'll turn this left leg directly in front of the left hip. We'll bring this right leg crossed over so that the knees are stacked. Some of us are going to stop here. Others of us are going to rock onto this left hip, hook the left heel under that right sits bone, or rather closer to, because it's not going to be touching. Now from here, whether you decided to keep the leg out or you decided to hook it in, and there's no right or wrong way to do that, a few different things. One, if this foot is off of the ground and you want to keep the legs crossed like this, you can bring a block or a bolster underneath the foot. If your leg is outstretched, or if they're crossed, we're going to bring our awareness into this right sits bone, and we're going to see if we can begin to bring it towards the earth. So we want that side of our body heavy. And then when we have that balance between our sits bones, we're going to take a deep breath in, lift up through the spine. As you exhale, begin to hinge the heart forward. When you meet that stopping point in your body, then you can begin to tuck the chin and let the forehead hang down towards the knees. For those of us that have that bottom leg outstretched, it might be a little less of a fold, because we're working with that entire back of our left leg. This can be really wonderful for those of us that have sciatic issues, to leave that bottom leg outstretched. So there's not a deeper way to do this. Both are great and have their purpose. Couple more rounds of breath here. Directing that breath down towards the glutes, the hips, the belly. Good, full breath. On your next inhale, we'll begin to walk ourselves back up. Pausing at the very top. And then all of us will take this top leg and gently move it off. If we have the bottom leg hooked, we'll go ahead and take it out. We're going to drop the knees together, feet go wide, hands come out behind us. From here, just letting the legs hang in. And then if you want to take it further, we're going to go ahead and drop that right knee down towards our midline. A little bit of an internal rotation here. And then we'll come back up and do the other side. And we'll come back up. And we'll extend the right leg out long, left foot hugs in. Same thing goes for this side. If we want to use props, we're welcome to them. Right foot is going to flex back towards the body. We're going to frame the right leg. Heart begins to turn over this right thigh. We inhale and lengthen our spine, and as you exhale, begin to walk that lengthened spine forward. When you reach that point where your body wants to stop, then you can begin to round down through the spine. And we might notice this side is different. For some of us, this side is going to be a little more accessible, and for others of us, it's going to be a little harder. These are those moments we want to begin to notice in our practice. Taking time to understand our body. Noticing differences between right and left tells us that there are habits in our daily life that are causing our body to be different on one side more than the other. So maybe, for instance, a lot of us are right-handed. A lot of the times our right shoulder, our right arm are going to be the parts of us that get overworked. But the same thing goes for our legs. We tend to have a stable one. We tend to have a more flexible one. How can we begin to learn our body? Well, it starts by listening to it, by being present with it, by breathing in it. One more round of breath. On your next inhale, we'll slowly roll up, going back to center. As you exhale, the shoulders soften down. Relax the foot and take a moment just to feel. Swiveling the right leg out in front of the right hip now. Moving our props off to the side, we'll take the left knee and begin to stack it over the right. Again, try this out if you have never done this type of fold here. It's different and it feels different. If you're like, not for me today, you're welcome to rock on the right hip, hook the right heel in, and come into our full shoelace. So different things for different bodies. We might bring props underneath this foot if it's lifted. Taking a moment to adjust. And then we'll begin to just notice this left sits bone. So a lot of us, it's going to be lifted. And what we want to do is we want it to become heavy towards the mat, which means that our left foot might start to lift off of the ground. That's okay. When you found that somewhat of a balance on the sits bones, we're going to inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, draw the heart forward. When you meet that stopping point of sensation in the left hip, then begin to round the forehead down. Couple more rounds of breath. When you're ready, on your inhale, we'll ground through the sits bones, and then we'll begin to slowly roll up. Taking our time, pausing for a moment at the top, and then we'll gently begin to uncross the top leg, unravel the left or the right. And then we'll bring the hands behind us, and this time we're just going to windshield from right to left. We might hang out on a side that feels like it needs it. And then we'll swivel our feet to the top of our mat. We'll grab one block back with us. Feet are going to plant. We'll grab behind the thighs and we'll begin to roll back. Feet begin to lift and we hug the legs in towards the belly when we get there. We might rock from side to side, giving our sacrum a little love here. So for those of you, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the chakras, there are these energy centers that are thought to live in the spine region. Our first one is the root chakra, and that has a lot to do with our fear and our place in the physical material world. When we get ungrounded, when we feel unsafe in life, whether that be financially, physically,
This part of our body tends to shift out of balance. And so taking a little moment here to just give it some love. There's been a lot of craziness this year. This week. So when you're ready, we'll plant the feet and we'll take that block we brought back with us. We'll lift the hips up and we're going to slide this block right underneath our sacrum. Right below the tailbone, the sacrum, the glutes. And we're just going to rest here for a moment. Our legs can stay planted if that feels secure for you. They can extend down long if you want that hip flexor release. Or if you need to flip your perspective and your blood flow, you can send the legs up towards the sky. But wherever you decide to be, taking a moment to talk to yourself here, and I know that sounds a little weird, but just mentally reminding yourself that you are safe. You are safe in this world, you are safe in your body, and that you are grounded, you are rooted in life, in this moment, in your breath. It is safe for us to explore the unknown. In fact, it is one of the best ways to heighten creativity, imagination. We'll take a few more moments here. If you have your feet planted, you might just sway the knees from side to side, rocking from each side of your sacrum, giving it a little bit of a massage. And we'll pause and center if we've been moving. We'll bring our feet back down to the mat. We'll take a moment here. And then when you're ready, we'll begin to lift the hips up, remove the block, come onto our backs fully here. Take any other movement or posture that your body is wanting or calling for today. And then when you're ready, in your own time, we'll begin to make our way into our final resting shape, Shavasana. That can be a heart opener, it can be child's pose, it can be traditional corpse pose, flat on our backs, legs down long, hands down by the side, or any variation that suits what you need to find stillness today. So taking a few more moments to get there, wrapping up our movement practice. And as you're ready, we'll begin to let the physical body go. Each toe begins to soften. Letting go of any tension in our ankles, our knees, any holding in the inner thighs, the outer, beginning to let that go. Softening the spine and shoulders against our prop or against our mat. Letting go of any tension in our jaw, our forehead, our mind. Allowing our breath to return to its natural rhythm as we begin to settle into our stillness, our loving awareness, Shavasana. walk to the edge of all the light you have and take that first step into the darkness of the unknown, you must believe that one of two things will happen. There will be something solid for you to stand upon, or you will be taught to fly. Bringing light back into the body with a deep breath in through the nose and a long, audible exhale, letting it all go. Enlivening our limbs with little movements in our fingers, our toes, our wrists, and our ankles. Taking our time to make subtle movements in the body here. An option to close out class where you are, or in your own time and in your own way, beginning to find your way into our comfortable seat. Bringing our right hand over our heart space, our left hand stacks over the right. Taking a moment to feel the beat of our existence pulsing beneath our palms. Bowing our heads in gratitude to the unknown, to this life, to ourself, our practice, our body, and to each other. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. The divine light in me honors and sees the divine light in each one of you. Namaste. Well, everyone, I hope that you all go on to have a beautiful Saturday and a beautiful week ahead of you. I know that there's a lot that we don't know, and I think that for today, we should allow that to be okay. So, I hope to see some of y'all tomorrow, but if I don't, have a beautiful rest of your week, and I love each and every one of you. Enjoy your day. My pleasure.